Thanks for joining us for another edition of National Focus. I'm Tasia Floissac. Coming up, $4.6 million Bells water supply officially launched, 16 young farmers from Morne Prosper received tools and supplies, and a $350,000 road rehabilitation project for Floissac. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. Work will commence soon on the Bells water supply project. The $4.6 million project was officially launched on Monday at the Bells Primary School.
The Bells area has been traditionally served by small community-managed systems which are not very efficient. So this project will provide potable water service to this community for the very first time and will allow for a lot of housing expansion in the area.
The project will be undertaken in two main lots. Chief Engineer Magnus Williams explained that Lot 1 will focus on the abstraction of water from various sources.
We'll be using two sources for this project. One of them is a stream close to the Pocasset area, and another one is a tributary in Brantridge, that's a tributary on the Warner River. So the first lot will entail a construction of two intakes, one on each of these sources, and as well as two storage tanks, one of them 30,000 gallons in the Brantridge area, and another one 45,000 gallons in Pocasset. It also involved the laying of the supply pipelines that will take the water from these two intakes to these storage tanks, and as well as access roads which will allow the Wasco to be easily able to manage these systems.
Williams further explained that the second lot will entail distribution pipeworks.
It will comprise of laying approximately 2,000 feet of 4-inch ductile iron pipes, 4,000 feet of 4-inch PVC, 520 feet of 3-inch GS, and the majority of the pipe works will be laying over 3-inch distribution mains that will extend all the way to Bells and some of the hamlets like wet area, and that will be about 28,000 feet of 3-inch, what we call HDPE pipes, and about 9,900 feet of 2-inch, so that's the bulk of the project.
Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Kelvadaru, reiterated his commitment to addressing the needs of his constituents.
You, the people of Bells, Penrice, Pocasset, Glogome, the wet area, you have a need for water. You have a need for efficient water, for healthy water. And the government has a responsibility to bring this to you. And this Labour Party administration is ensuring that you can have this water at your homes. And this is a commitment that I have made as a power rep, that we have made as a government, and that we'll continue to make.
The project will serve the communities of Bells and Penrice and will also make allowance for further extension to the communities of Sylvania and Layu Park.
Instructions have already been given by the Minister of Finance to extend that water to Sylvania and Penrice and Layu Park, and that will cost an additional $1.7 million. So by the time we're done with this water from here going back to Layu Park, we will have spent some $6.3 million.
Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says the launch of the Bells water project is yet another fulfillment of a commitment made by the ruling DLP administration.
It is a project which you spoke to us about and you indicated to us was a major priority or the main priority for this part of the country. And you recall, as my friend Mr. Kelvadaro indicated, he also committed the government, the Labour Party, to fulfilling that request for you, the people of this community. And it is a fact that governments before us felt that it was too much of an expensive project, that you had access to so many rivers and it rains there every day, so you can have a little drum at the back of your house and collect water. But this Labour Party is a party that appreciates improving the lives and the standard of living and the pride and joy in people and families. And this is why we have taken this bold decision, but this necessary decision, to effect the commencement of this major water project.
Edgar Robinson and Associates are the contractors for the first phase of the project, while Caribbean Concrete will be responsible for Lot 2. The project is expected to be completed in June 2015. And in other news, a young farmers group in Morne Prosper have been provided with agricultural tools and supplies to increase the yields on their respective holdings. Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Rose Valley constituency, Dr. John Colin McIntyre, made the presentation during a short ceremony on Monday.
Morne Prosper hails from a serious farming village, and the young people here, they embrace agriculture seriously. And we have decided under one of our programs with the government of Dominica, and of course our Prime Minister assisted tremendously with this one, where we have purchased for them sprayers, knapsack sprayers, brush cutters, cutlasses, forks, fertilizer, agrochemicals, and you name it. We have provided for these young men here, where they're going to be, we're going to be distributing it today among themselves, and they have their holdings in the various parts of Morne Prosper. And we thought, as a government, it'll be good to embrace our young people here, because we want to make sure we keep our people on the right track.
The presentation to the group of 16 young men is a fulfillment of a promise made at a recent meeting in the community.
The Prime Minister was present at the meeting. We had in excess of at least 70 young persons from the village of Morne Prosper present at this gathering. It was a lovely social event. We socialized it with our people, especially the young ones. And there's a conversation that was held with the Honorable Prime Minister and myself, among with some of the young men here, where they mentioned to us that they had some challenges with, getting fertilizers, agrochemicals, knapsack sprayers, tools, brush cutters. And they thought, that if they could, get some assistance from government. The Prime Minister immediately called me, and we decided that we're going to make these items available to them.
The farmers have described the presentation as timely and important.
The agricultural program is a high vibes for us, because we need it in the village. We have enough land and thing to work, and we need a little help with it. So it's a very good vibes that the government helping us with it. So
it's a good thing for us, man, because now we're willing to work, man, and develop the community in Morne Prosper, So them tools and things we get there, it's a good strength for us to hold our head, man. If you have something to do, Yeah, so we saying thanks to our party rep there, Yeah, Mr. McIntyre. Yeah, giving very thankful for the things he give us there,
The farmers cultivate a wide range of vegetables, seasoning, and ground provision. The community of Floissac will soon receive renovations to some of its existing roads. A contract for the $350,000 project was signed last Friday at the 15th inaugural meeting of the Bagatelle Floissac Point Carib Village Council. The Ministry of Public Works has conducted the necessary assessment, designed and estimates for the road rehabilitation works. Chief Technical Officer in the Ministry of Public Works, Kendall Johnson, gives an outline of the work to be done.
A brief idea of the scope of works: it will include the removal of the existing surface, the improvement of the existing base and the leveling of the road, and to undertake works along two bad sections of the road as follows. Section 1 is about 185 meters long, or 607 feet, about 5 meters or 16 feet wide, and the proposed width of concrete will be 5 inches. Section 2, similar, 265 meters or 869 feet by 6.8 meters wide, again 5 inches thick. We anticipate that the rehabilitation of those sections of road will greatly alleviate the levels of discomfort.
Works were contracted to the Bagatelle Floissac Point Carib Village Council and constructed by 3 nominated subcontractors. In more news, last Friday morning, officials of the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, Aid Bank, gathered with specially invited guests for the unique purpose of fulfilling its responsibilities as a corporate entity. The bank presented a total of $25,000 in donations to 7 organizations associated with social development. Julius Corbett, General Manager of Aid Bank, explained at Friday's gathering that this is in keeping with the bank's social mandate as well as moral values.
While most of us, if not all, experience some level of economic constraint, we're always obligated to a certain extent to support worthy causes. We can always refer to the good book for advice on the principles of giving, Monsignor. Please permit me to share 3 of those principles with you. Hebrews 13:16 advises, do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God. Proverbs 19:17 wisely states, whoever is generous to the poor leads to the Lord.
The Dominica Infirmary and the Portersville Youth Sports Academy received the largest portions of this donation, with a total of $10,000 and $8,500 respectively. Reynold Gustav, Deputy Director of the Portersville Youth Sports Academy, expressed his gratitude.
It is with deep gratitude we accept this check this morning. And with a heartful thanks, we want to say we appreciate the fact that you have considered us, because the academy is definitely in need. We want to thank you again, and we do pray that it will not just be a matter of giving us a check here today, but since we are just a stone throw away from the bank, we want to extend an invitation to the members of the bank in your leisure time. You can put on your gears, come across, because we do need mentors. You know, it's just not just about the money, it's about the holistic development of our children. So having said this, just these few words, I just want to say thanks again, God bless, and looking forward to continuing that relationship in the future.
Other beneficiaries of the Aid Bank's donation included Kalinago Connections, Inc., Special Olympics Dominica, the Bureau of Gender Affairs, the Dominica Cancer Society, and the Point Michel Development Committee. Honorable Minister for Housing Reginald Austrie says the Roosevelt-Skerritt administration has performed credibly despite the global economic crisis. Honorable Austrie, speaking at the official contract signing for the Saban Water project last week, said the ruling DLP government continues to improve the standard of living for thousands of Dominican nationals.
We'll talk about housing, we can talk about education, we can talk about health, we can talk about care for the elderly. There's so many things that this government is doing just to ease up the pressure and to ensure that our senior citizens, our young persons and our children can enjoy a decent standard of living in spite of the difficulties that the rest of the world is going through at this particular point in time. And all of that is only possible because you have a government who is visionary.
The Honorable Minister also highlighted the progress made by the ruling DLP government in the provision of pipe-borne water to communities across the country.
We spent about $16 million just between 2013 and 2014. And we spent in grant form, we spent about $1.5 million in grant form. We spent about $3.5 million in bends, and we had already spent $1 million, so that makes it about $4.5 million in bends. We spent $1.2 million in vehicles. We spent $500,000 changing the pipes in Lale, in Granby. We spent another $1.5 in Shawford. Outside, or as part of the West Coast Water system, we also spent $2.5 in Salisbury.
Also this news time, the Kalinago people were the first people on several of the islands of the Caribbean, including Dominica. Over the years, the French, English, and African cultures have been greatly exhibited in the cultural expression of the Dominican people. However, with support from the Cultural Division of the Ministry of Culture, the heritage of the first people on the island remains strong.
In particular respect to the Kalinago territory, we work closely with institutions and base groups, if I call it, the cultural groups in the community, in the Kalinago community. For example, the division gives support to like the Miss Kalinago pageant, or we work with the Kalinago cultural officer, Mr. Prosper Paris, who is attached to the Kalinago Council on mutual projects, like for example this week the whole setting up of the exhibition.
This year, the Cultural Division and the National Cultural Council have chosen to focus on the contributions of the Kalinagos to Dominica's cultural heritage. The Division of Culture also has other plans to help keep the tradition of the Kalinago people alive.
We are planning in November a TETMAS workshop. This is to develop to further develop and explore innovation in TETMAS. Now TETMAS is like the headpiece that the Kalinago use as part of the carnival costume. It's kind of similar, conical shape like the band movie, or boat-like shape, but it's different because it uses like crepe paper for decoration and so on. So that's another project. I mean, we are looking at things like the Festival of Traditional Toys and Games for next year, and there will be participation from the Kalinago in some of the traditional games. And then there we published a book on Kalinago Heritage Volume 1 a couple years back, and we are working on a second volume on Kalinago heritage. But now that the Kalinago Cultural Officer is in place in the territory, and he's there as an intern with the National Employment Program, then there is an additional momentum to the work of culture in the territory. You know,
Rabes says the placement of this cultural officer on site in the Kalinago territory allows for greater collaboration between the territory and the Cultural Division. He adds that this move means more work can be done in the preservation of the Kalinago culture on the island. And finally, after investing generously in the upkeep of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium to facilitate international cricket matches between West Indies and New Zealand, the Honourable Finance Minister Roosevelt Skerrit announced that more matches are underway. Honourable Skerrit made this announcement before Parliament last month.
The Ministry of Culture received additional funds of $76,728 from local resources for the preparation of the grounds of the Windsor Park Stadium for the international cricket matches between West Indies and New Zealand. And Madam Speaker, next year Dominica will host West Indies and Australia.
Honourable Minister for Sports Justina Charles noted the importance that the investment in maintenance plays in ensuring full benefits are reaped from the facility.
I want to say, Madam Speaker, that was money that was well spent, and I think any country that have invested so much money in a facility of that type, we must continue to invest so that we can maintain its integrity and we can well remain ready to host future international matches. And so it would be poor management and poor financial management to have erected such a structure and not continue to invest in its maintenance.
Honourable Charles highlighted the stadium's contribution to the country's economy as well as its tourism industry and social activity. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moi c'est McPherson St. Louis. Premièrement, département quarantine bien concerné contre bagaille qui rentre le pays là, sans créer endangered species, bagaille qui peut détruire l'agriculture pays là. Parole celle-là sorti au chef département quarantine Ryan Ansem.
Nous-mêmes nous pour mettre mise en place, nous pour travailler avec organisation AICA, FAO, avec mon CIRAD, avec CADI. Pour nous garder comment nous ca pêcher ces bitins ça monter parce que on invasive species want tuer yo ka vini sans ça ka ke biological control bagay qui ça contrôle naturellement so c'est on partie l'argent pour goumen compte yo c'est l'argent ça là nous te ça mettre en industrie nous pour nous garder comment nous ka ka improve system production nou. So, encore, c'est investir species ça là, nous pouvons être bien sérieux, et nous pouvons travailler ensemble, border control, custom pour tout le monde, pour travailler ensemble, pour pêcher ça entre Dominique, parce que c'est $1 million pour contrôler.
On a nouvelle, ça fait qu'à concerner l'histoire Pep Kalinago et puis contribution à yo pour Héritage Dominique, car vous avez attention Simen Salam pour Simen Histoire l'année 2014. Simen Histoire a couru entre le 6 pour le 10 octobre l'année Salam. Selon officier culture Gregory Rabes, il y a un aspect pour activité sur une exposition en Vieux Moulin à Kenfeld.
Nous avons une grande exposition à Vieux Moulin, ça c'est Old Mill, Cultural Center à Kenfield. Et puis nous avons invité ces gens-là et puis les enfants de l'école pour visiter Kenfield, visiter Vieux Moulin, Old Mill Cultural Center pour voir ça qui a pour place dans l'exhibition. Semaine ça là, histoire, c'est nous avons jeté un œil sur l'histoire Kalinago, l'histoire de Kalinago. So, effectivement, dans l'exposition, il y a un portrait d'autres bagailles qui est artisanat, ça c'est arts and crafts. En dans l'exhibition, so les gens visiter l'exhibition, ils ont tapé un petit un coup d'œil. Un coup d'œil, c'est like a snapshot en anglais. L'histoire qui est Kalinago. À part de ça, c'est l'école en Dominique là qui a organisé différents bagailles dans la classe là même. Vous pouvez visiter le pays Kwaïb, le territoire Kwaïb, pour voir qui manière c'est Kalinago qui vit.
On a nouvelle département gender Dominique Kaba Femme Rural Opportunity exposé travail à yo pendant activité qui a organisée pour commémorer Journée Femme Rurale Internationale. Parole celle-là, sur le directeur Bioula, Madame Rosie Brown.
Nous avons temps ça là pour faire femmes à différents areas rurales. Pour avantage là pour mettre en exhibition, c'est différents bagailles qu'a fait pour tout temps dans la vie, mais aussi pour bailler une opportunité pour ça faire un vendre quelque chose, un petit l'argent pour aider familles, mais pour bailler exposé à différents programmes, activités, d'autres divisions, d'autres organisations café pour ça aider pour avantage en les resources, en les bitin for funding, for example, pour ça aider faire programme qui développer plus.
Et puis finalement, Festival Comité Dominique qui continue et puis dégo avant week-end salam, Festival Drivé et puis Roadshow. Parole celle-là, sorti votre officier DFC Leroy Waddix Charles pendant conférence média aujourd'hui.
Vendredi, ça c'est le dernier moment pour nous trouver ticket à sous vente. Et ce ticket saison là qui est $254, ça c'est Crazy Coconuts. Nous avons un festival d'Uive, ça c'est un petit warm-up, un petit. Vite nous avons essayé de faire mon festival là tout près. Ça c'est Crazy Coconuts, ça a normalement commencé 6 h. Et Serenade Band qui a frappé très fort, Cross Vibes qui est là aussi. Et ça c'est le dernier moment à ville là pour nous taper ticket saison à $254. Après ça, samedi, nous sommes à Portsmouth, ça c'est Grand As. Nous sommes à Coco Bar, ça c'est une petite place là-bas. Nous sommes jouer musique, nous chasse à quoi pour acheter ticket à sous-vente. $254 sur premièrement, Crazy Coconuts vendredi soir. Et après ça, Guatans, nous sommes pour saison ticket en avance, mais c'est $254.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up, a tip on how to wipe your grill clean without the use of chemicals.
DOWASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
After a long weekend of backyard barbecues, we're willing to bet that your grill racks have been taking a beating. So here's a simple, strange, but sustainable way to get them clean. Heat up the grill super hot so it will be easy to scrape off remainders of food. Cut an onion in half, and by pricking a fork in the onion, use the flat end of the onion pointing face down to rub down the grit. Doing this will remove the grime and grit without requiring the hard and frustrating scrubbing of a Brillo pad. Plus, it's an affordable green alternative that won't cause putrid smells like most chemicals do. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here, I'm Tasia Floissac. Thanks for watching.